Hey you guys, welcome back to another video. I'm so excited to be doing this video because this is something that is very close to my heart. So yeah, anyways, for those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Natasha and I hope you do become a part of this beautiful family where we share our experiences, we learn and we grow just by clicking the red subscribe button below and hitting the notification bell so that you are one of the first people to be notified when I do post a video and you don't miss out on any videos. And for my returning subscribers, my day ones, thank you so much for returning and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this video. So as you can tell from the title of the video, actually let me get comfortable, guys. I don't wanna rush this video and I want to make sure I say everything that I need to say. So anyways, as I was saying, I don't want to rush this video. I want to make sure that I give you guys enough information, all the information that you need, so that if you have not passed your driver's license yet, you do so first time. We're all about doing something perfectly the first time so that you don't have to waste money and time to go and do it the second time. But if ever you do happen to have to do it the second time, it's not a train smash, it's not a big deal, it's part of life. It only means that you have a second chance to actually doing it better. So guys, I'm going to be taking you guys through the whole process of passing your driver's license. I'm going to start off from the learner's license and getting that. I know a lot of you probably don't know the whole process. A lot of you maybe haven't gotten to the second process, which is basically getting your license. Maybe some of you have your learners, but you're not sure what the second process entails. I'm going to explain everything that you understand and you are fully prepared for you to pass your license the first time. So just some background history on my personal experience and journey. I recently got my license, which was not last year, but the year before that, 2020. On the 25th of November 2020, I'll never ever forget that day. It was one of the best days of my entire life. It was something that I honestly didn't see it coming. I didn't think that I would pass my license first time. I was fresh on the road and I actually passed my license the first time I actually went and tested, and I was so proud of myself. It was one of the proudest moments of my entire life because my journey was not easy. My journey was one of those really hard ones. I really struggled to get my license. I want to tell you everything, and to get my learners. So it was a very sentimental moment for me. I actually realized a couple of weeks, I think, after I got my license, that I never took a picture of the day because there was just a lot going on. So it was very busy and my driving instructor had to leave me because he was rushing to go and have a lesson with someone else. So then he had to leave me. So he also couldn't take a picture of me. So yeah, it was just a lot of that. So guys, the steps obviously to you finally passing your driving license is that firstly, you need to write your learners. And then after you write your learners, you need to pass it. And when you pass that, then you go to your driving school or driving lessons with whomever you want to go through the driving lessons with. And then after you're done with your driving lessons, then you go and test for your license. Then once you pass your license, then you are finally a legal driver. So basically, those are the 3 steps. So how it starts is that you first have to go and book for your learner's license. So what happens is when you get to the traffic department, you have to either have ID photos with you or you can take pictures there. There are people there who take pictures. You can take pictures there. You have to bring your ID with you and I think your proof of address, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember perfectly well, but yeah, you have to bring your ID with you and some ID photos that you are gonna put on your form once you fill it in. So when you get there, you take your pictures. Let's just create a scenario of you have no pictures and you're just getting there with your ID and your proof of address. So you get there, you take your pictures, and then you're obviously going to have to stand in the queue. Guys, we all know the struggle of the public sector and how things are always slow in every public place, like a public governmental place, and general anything that has to do with government and how slow it is in South Africa. Guys, by the way, if you are watching this video and you are not from South Africa, I'm specifically referring to South Africa, and in this case Eastern Cape. So we all know how public sectors and just generally government related offices are always slow and full. So I would suggest you wake up early to go to the traffic department. Try and be there at least by 6 a.m. Yes, it's very early, but try and be there by 6 a.m. if not at least 7 a.m. so that you are one of the first people to be able to enter. Especially now with COVID, it's really hard for them to let too many people in. I was lucky enough that I passed my learners during the time when COVID hadn't hit us. So they were able to accommodate a lot of people inside the traffic department. But now, because of COVID, they don't allow a lot of people inside the traffic department. So the queue goes slower. So I would really suggest you wake up very early and be one of the first people to arrive there. So after you're done with your pictures and you are standing in the queue, once you get in, you're gonna sign a form. You're gonna fill in a form or fill out a form with all your particulars, stating which driver's code that you want to go for. It could be a code 8 or code 10. Code 8 being your light vehicle, a normal vehicle. And code 10 being your bigger or heavier vehicle, which could be your truck. And then obviously the bigger ones would be code 14, which is now for the huge trucks and all of that. But I obviously passed with my code 8, also known as code B driver's license for a light vehicle. So after you're done filling that form, and then basically fast forward, you go and choose a date of when you want to write your learners. My tips with regards to this is that always choose a date that is convenient for you. Make sure it doesn't clash with any commitments you have or work or whatever. And if you are going to be working or schooling, make sure it doesn't clash with any work meetings, commitments at work, or your school commitments in terms of tests, exams, and whatever. And then obviously fast forward. After your date arrives, you're going to go and write your learners, you pass your learners, and then you're going to go to the next step, which is now having to book for your drivers. So my tips with regards to your learners is that you should learn that, what do they call that book? Learn the K53, guys. Get test papers from someone, previous test papers. I know with me, I was lucky enough to receive, I think I got it's the 3 test papers and with the answers. I learned that and I went through the K53 book and just tried to learn and understand what you're learning more than just memorizing, because guys, you're going to need to apply everything that you learn with your learners on the road. So if you're just going to go in there with the mentality of memorizing everything, you're gonna actually shoot yourself in the foot, because when you get to the road, once you've passed your drivers, you're gonna need to remember everything you've learned, and that is not gonna work well for you, because now you're gonna end up driving nonsense, which is why some people drive nonsense on the road. In as much as you should memorize the book, but just try and also learn what you're reading and learn the test papers. Then once you pass your learners, obviously now you need to book for your driver's license. So before you book for your driver's license, I would suggest that don't rush and book for your driving license or driving test, being that if you are not an experienced driver and you've never driven before, or you are not familiar with a car, don't rush to go and book, because sometimes you find that you put yourself under pressure. You go through 20 lessons at the driving school, and that also is still not enough. And then your date comes for you to go and test for your driving license, and you are still not ready. So my suggestion would be, if you are familiar with a car, you have driven before, by all means, it will be much easier for you to adapt to the road. You'll be familiar with the car, so booking earlier will be okay for you. But then if you have never driven before, you're not familiar with the road, you're not familiar with a car, don't rush to book after you've passed your learner's license. Go home, find a driving school, or if there is a car at home or whoever you know who can assist you with a few lessons, start familiarizing yourself with the road, with the car, start taking lessons. yeah, basically be familiar with the road, be familiar with the car, be comfortable, and then maybe go to a driving school for 10 lessons or 20 lessons before you go and book for your driver's license. Then, fast forward, once you have gone for your lessons and you have, you feel comfortable on the road, you feel comfortable behind the wheel, then you can go and book your driving license test. So let me tell you a bit of my personal story. So when I wrote my learners 3 times, believe it or not. I did not fail any time. It wasn't a matter of I didn't know the work or I failed. The only reason why I wrote it 3 times was because every time I wrote it, I never got a chance to actually go and book for my driver's license test. And with that being said, my learners would expire and then I'd have to go and write it again, and then it would expire, and then I have to go and write it again. So the first time I wrote it was like a long time ago. I think the first time I wrote my learner's license test was in 2013. I was doing my second year. And what happened was the next year I was preparing obviously for my driver's license test, and I was in an accident. It wasn't a big one, but I basically crashed into someone's car from behind. And with that being said, it was a very traumatic experience for me. I was driving my friend's car. She was literally teaching me how to drive. It wasn't a bad crash, but I did bump into the car. So that was a very traumatic experience for me. And I honestly didn't want anything to do with cars. I honestly just didn't want anything that had to do with cars. So then for I think a year or a year and a half, I never drove. And then my learner's license expired that way. Then the second time when I wrote it, I passed, and then I didn't have funds. Like, it was one of those times when izinto zazinzima, guys, like things were really tough. I was honestly trying to make ends meet, and being that I've always been my only supporter. Like, I don't have anyone else who supports me financially. I don't have a mother, I don't have a father, no one supports me. I do everything for myself. So it was really hard for me to actually raise money for me to go to a driving school. So with that being said, unfortunately my learners expired again. And then the last time I wrote, that was the time I told myself, to know I am not letting it expire again. I need to do this. I need to get this. And I wrote it for the third time. I passed it. And for the first time, I actually managed to have someone to teach me, which is my partner. But I didn't start learning how to drive immediately. I think I got my learners, I think it was in 2017, and he only started teaching me to drive in 2019. Yes, in 2019. We didn't drive on a daily basis or even on a weekly basis. We drove from time to time. And that's how I got comfortable behind the wheel. So that's why I'm saying, Guti, don't rush to go and book for your driver's license if you're not familiar with the road or a car. After you've passed your learners, rather just try and get someone to teach you. Just try and get someone to make you comfortable on the road. Then I would suggest you go to a driving school. So with me, what happened was after my boyfriend taught me to drive for a while, once I was comfortable with the road, then I decided to get a driving school. So 3 things that I can actually advise you with regards to a driving school. Make sure the driving school is a reputable one. It has a good reputation. What I did, I researched, I went on Google, I checked the number of stars, I checked people's reviews. I literally checked for everything. And one of the reasons I did this was because I actually guys, I had one of the worst experiences ever. So when I actually decided, okay, I have the money, at least I'm in an affording position, and I wanted to actually get my license, I started off with this other driving school. It was one of the worst experiences ever. I'm not a person who usually does this, but I actually had to write a not so good review about this driving school because it was one of the worst experiences ever. Guys, so I paid, luckily I was smart. I never paid the full package. because I was testing driving schools out, I just paid for one lesson because I wanted to see the type of person who's going to be teaching me, how I'm going to feel about the car and the overall experience. So I just paid for one lesson. And on that day when the guy was supposed to take me for that first lesson, first of all, he was 2 hours late. When he got there, it was not even the guy. He sent his father to come and teach me to drive. And when his dad got there, made me feel so uncomfortable. He was commenting about my body, telling me to take my jacket off. It was the worst experience, guys. So I would honestly advise you, don't just go for the first driving school that you see on the internet or your first driving school that anyone tells you about. Rather check around for different driving schools that are available in your area and check the reviews. If you need to, try maybe top 3 that you feel like, okay, I want to test these ones out, and just go for one lesson with each of them. You are going to find a space that you feel comfortable and safe in, especially with the level of GBV in South Africa and just generally the violence against women. So you can't trust anyone and you want to make sure you're in a safe space. So yeah, so I was lucky enough to do that, and I finally got the best driving school, which is two-way driving school in Eastern Cape. I would definitely recommend them if you are in PE or the Eastern Cape. It's two-way driving school. I will try and insert maybe the name of the driving school or any link or number that I can in the description box below for those of you who might be interested. But that's the driving school that I went with. And I first took 10 lessons. And after I took those 10 lessons, my driving instructor was honest with me and told me that he feels like I need to take more, because if I want to pass it the first time, I need to make sure that I am spot on. So I took an extra 10 lessons, I think, or was it 15? I'm not exactly sure, guys, but I think I took 15 or 20 lessons, and obviously booked their car to test with their car. Another thing is you can bring your own vehicle, but I would honestly suggest that you use the driving school vehicle, because especially if you're going to have a lot of lessons with the driving school, if you've already drove the car that belongs to the driving school, you are more comfortable with it, you know it, you have been practicing with it, you know how to change the gear on it, you are familiar and comfortable with it, so it's going to make it easier also when you go and test. So that's what I did. I booked for the car, and that's the car that I used to test. So we've touched on getting a good driving school, and then the next lesson that I'm gonna actually just emphasize is practice. Guys, you need to practice. My boyfriend used to laugh at me because I would be reading about driving lessons, I would be watching videos on YouTube, how to do alley docking, how to do a 3.6 turn. I would, like, guys, every time you would get me, you'd either find me reading a book about driving or searching on the internet or just generally watching videos on YouTube on how to drive. So I would literally highly recommend, apologies if I keep on looking down, I'm just trying to go through the points that I have so that I don't miss anything. So I would highly recommend practice. If you have to look like you are a fool, do so. What I used to do is, even with my boyfriend's car, when we would meet up or when we were together, I would literally do a test with his car, like the external test or outside test. He would make me practice that, all of that, practice the internal or inside test. So he was very supportive with me, and he really supported my journey, and he just made sure that I was spot on. So that's the fourth lesson, practice. Yeah, the fifth point was just that touching on lessons with my boyfriend made me really confident on the road. So once again, if you have a car that you can use at home or a friend who's willing to help you to be comfortable on the road, do that. Number 6 is that once you are now comfortable with the road, you've practiced, you've gone to the driving school, you have read about driving, you have watched videos on YouTube, you have memorized everything, you are comfortable on the road, then I would suggest you go and book your driving license test. So obviously, same procedure even when you get to the traffic department for your driving license. Your booking, basically, you get there with your ID photos and your ID, you fill out the form, and then you you choose a date. Once again, make sure you choose a date that is convenient, that doesn't clash with any commitments you might have. Then once you've booked a date, then you need to now just polish on whatever you've already learned. Obviously, if ever you haven't gone for a lot of lessons, you would probably have to book a further date, because obviously if you book a date that is too soon and you're not 100% ready, that might shoot yourself in the foot. So I would suggest, if ever you are fully ready and you're ready to do this, book a date that is close by. But if ever you feel like you want to at least practice, even if it's for a week or two, then book a date that is a bit further. Then once you book your date comes, and now you are starting your driver's license test. So I'm going to go through just a few points. So once the date comes for your driver's test, you are going to do 3 tests, which is your external or outside inspection, your internal or inside inspection, your yard test, and your road test. So external inspection is self-explanatory. You're gonna have to explain everything, which is simple things. For example, like your tire thread is at the correct level, all your mirrors are working and they have been adjusted properly, there are no obstructions underneath your car, you have checked your oil, your water level, what else? Yeah, basically the normal outside inspection that you would do. And then you're going to do an inside inspection, which is going to also be similar. So you'll just have to tell your examiner things such as you have adjusted your rear view mirror, it's in the correct position. They'll probably tell you to switch your car on. Then you need to explain what you see there. Tell them that your gears are neutral, your handbrake is up, there are no obstructions on the pedals and all of that. That will be your inside inspection. It's not all of it, but then you're obviously going to learn more once you do the test. And then your road test will come, which is now you going on the road and actually proving to the examiner that you are able to drive and you are driving safely, or you are a safe driver. So guys, I'm not going to go into detail about the road test, but basically tips that I'm going to give you, things such as hitting any poles during your yard test and rolling during an incline or a hill is an instant fail, like instant fail. So you need to always make sure when you're doing your yard test, don't hit any poles. I'm going to insert a picture to show you guys what poles I'm talking about. And also make sure when you do your incline, you don't roll, because that is an instant fail. Generally, while you do your test throughout, make sure you don't roll, but the incline is the most important part of you not rolling, because that is a mini test by itself. So if you do roll there, and if you roll like dismal, but if you roll in any way, it's an instant fail. So number 9, I have remember everything you've done at driving school. So you are now ready to do your road test. Remember everything that you have done at driving school. Please, guys, don't despise the small teachings that your instructor is going to teach you at driving school. I was so fortunate enough that my instructor was so kind. He's for growth, he's for passing, like he has 100% pass rate, if I can put it like that, with his students. So with him, it's a thing of you need to pass, you can't just fail. Like he teaches you to pass your driving your driving test. So he was very determined, he's very enthusiastic, and he's a good teacher. So I was fortunate enough. So you need to remember everything that person teaches you, because everything that they have taught you, and everything that you have done during your lessons is now going to have to be applied when you go through your road test. So I have mentioned, remember everything you've done at driving school, and always do your 5-point check observation. If you don't do that, you're gonna fail. Like always do that. Always observe before you brake. Check your thingy, your mirror. generally always observe, because the instructor checks those things, and the more you're not doing some things, the more you are going to lose points. When there's a stop sign, you need to stop, and before you stop you need to check, and before you go you need to observe. Every time when you go through a full stop, you need to observe, you need to do the 5-point check. And every time that you do actually turn, or you're gonna stop, even if it's just a slight turn, whatever, make sure you observe and check your surroundings. And then always put your steering wheel at 3:15, which is like this. Guys, don't do this when you drive. Don't cross your fingers or your hands. You are going to fail. It's not recommended you do that. Always put your hands at 2:10 or at 3:15. That's how you hold your steering wheel. And then last point and advice is that do not panic. Try to calm down, because if you panic, you are likely to fail. And more than anything, be confident. With me, guys, let me tell you the story. So when I got to the driving ground, I did my external check, inspection, and I passed that. Did my internal inspection, passed that. Then we did the yard test, I passed it. But now let me tell you the funny story. While I was doing my yard test, guys, I forgot how to do, I think it was early docking or something like that, but I forgot how to do it. Like, guys, I just went blank. And I was like, yo, I can't feel this. I can't feel this. And I remember in that instant, I could feel, the devil trying to make me forget. And I literally just calmed myself down. And I prayed to God. I was like, God, I know this. I've done this probably more than 20 times. I can do this. Please just help me. And I calmed myself down, because I could feel that the nerves are going to make me fail. I'm not going to fail because I don't know what to do, but I'm going to fail because of the nerves. I literally just calmed myself down. I prayed. And in that instant, I could just feel the things I did come back to me. I started remembering. And with that being said, I finished my early docking, I finished my yard test, and I passed it. I never hit any poles. And then with that being said, I had to do my incline, passed my incline, went through the incline, my car didn't roll back. Then I went into the yard test. Yo, guys, I shot myself in the foot. But then again, I'm saying maybe this is what I needed to see my bravery and my strength and my power, because I booked my test for an 8 a.m. slot. Remember, it's during the week. I think it was on a Monday or a Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, but it was on the 25th of November, 2020. And I booked my test I booked to test for an 8 a.m. slot. And remember, at that time, the roads are busy, first of all, because everyone is rushing to work, the roads are busy. And now our traffic department, where I went to test, is kind of like in a, what do you call this area? It's one of those areas where kugcwele man, kugcwele. It's where everything is being sold, busy, ekostini yabo. So the roads are generally busy, it's packed, it's congested, people are going this way, there's heisters on the road, there's trucks, there's just everything you can think of. And I was so proud of myself, guys, because I passed my road test even though the roads were busy. And I remember there was a time when we got to a stop sign, and my car went off. Yo, my armpits were sweating because I thought I failed. And then I remembered my instructor telling me that as long as your car doesn't roll in any direction, you just have to pick yourself up again. So I just switched my car on, and once it went on, I did my observation, I did my balancing, did my second observation, and then I started driving. And I think 20 or 25 minutes later, we went back to the traffic department. Guys, I was so sure I failed, especially because my car went off. I was so sure that I failed. But when we got there, you know how they make you scared. They start telling you everything that you were not doing, things that you were not doing correctly, and all of that. And eventually she then said, pass. I was like, It was one of the most exciting moments, guys, of my entire life. I passed, but unfortunately, I couldn't take any pictures because by the time I got back from my road test, my driving instructor urgently needed the car because I think he had a lesson with someone else. So I couldn't take a picture of him. I couldn't take a picture with him. I couldn't take a picture of myself. No one took a picture of me. I literally forgot about it and I had to rush back to work that day. So it was just a very busy day for me. But obviously, once you pass, you get a temporary driving license, which is that huge A4 page that you have to carry around every day. But it's really worth it, guys. It's really, really worth it. And then I think you get your license after 4 to 6 weeks. You get an SMS or yeah, I think you get an SMS, yeah, to say Uguti your driving card or driving license is, excuse me, is ready for collection. And I collected my card. Guys, those were my tips on how to pass your driver's test the first time. I really hope that these tips and my story has really assisted you and helped you. And guys, one last thing that I want to say is that you are never too old to go and pass your driver's test. I passed my driver's test when I was 28. Ne? Last year, I've been at 29. Just making sure. Yeah. I'm still 29 actually. But yeah, I got my driver's license when I was 28, and by the grace of God I passed it the first time. And I don't think it was any of it wasn't an easy test, it wasn't an easy journey. It was all because I was consistent. I wanted it badly. I think that's another important thing, is how badly do you want it. I wanted it so badly and I worked hard for it. I did what I needed to do. I sacrificed. Yeah, and I passed my driver's test first time. So those are my tips for you guys. I really hope they can assist someone out there. And more than anything, just be confident, believe in yourself. If you get a moment of panic, just calm yourself down, because you're not going to get another chance to do it like same time. You need to go through the whole process again. And I think for me it was just the thought of, I'm not going to go through that whole process of having to book for my driver's license test again. So I just pushed myself and I worked hard. So yeah, guys, I really hope that this video assists someone out there. If you really enjoyed it, please give it a like and don't forget to interact in the comment section below. Let me know what your first experiences were when you did your first driver's test. Comment and let me know how you passed yours and how you feel about it and everything, man, that happened during your first driver's test and when you did pass. And yeah, let's just interact in the comment section and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.